Hey everyone. So this video, I haven't done one of these in a while, and at the same time, I haven't really uploaded at my usual cadence, so I wanted to kind of do a quick video of what's Billy been up to. So I call this series No Value, Just Billy. Um, some of you may know that my father is visiting because I did the live with him recently. So yeah, my dad's here, and my dad is branching out into different parts of his work. He wants to be more involved in the international community in terms of providing hypnosis services and things like that. So I've been setting up sessions for him. I've been introducing some of my clients and my students, and now he uses this room. He uses this setting to kind of conduct the sessions. So I've been out of my room, and so that's why I haven't been recording and going live as much as I used to. And other thing is my work has been demanding a lot of my attention recently, so I've been doing a lot more work than usual. And so if I'm not doing client work, I've just been going out into my world and just kind of doing things that relate to software engineering. And now I also got a viewer request and related to work. So a lot of people, not a lot of people, some people have been asking me, what do I do as a software engineer? What's it like? How do you think it affects your life and your mind? And why did you get into software engineering other than the money? Like, why aren't you a doctor or lawyer or something like that? So I just want to talk a little bit about that. Might as well, because I'm just talking about me anyway, right? Okay, I'm a data infrastructure engineer. So my official role is a staff data engineer, but I'm a data infrastructure kind of an overseeing person. What this means is the world is all about big data these days, right? And so big data means if you take all the Google search queries over the past hour in California, you'd be more or less able to see what Californians are in general searching for this hour, right? But that's gonna be a lot, right? So population of California basically, and many people use Google more than once, right? So that's gonna be a lot. So let me just quickly look up the population of California. Population of California is 39 million. So 39 million, suppose I'm being very generous, suppose they just, everybody in California searched once, and that's like 39 million. And so from that, you get like a normal distribution of like the popular search queries and the outliers and things like that. And so when you analyze those, you can kind of see what's trending in California, what's important to Californians in the past hour, or like, now you can expand the time frame, you can expand the locale, you can just expand everything, and then you kind of get a sense of like, from this really large volume of data, you can get a sense of human behavior. And from that human behavior, you can kind of see like how you can kind of try to predict what's going to happen next and all these things. That's basically the domain of big data. Some simple form of future telling is basically the typing predictions, right? Like when I type hamburger, how do they know I'm going to write hamburger, right? These things are trained by big data models. So in order to do that, you need a computer. But now, the things that are on your computer are like a few kilobytes, few megabytes, few gigabytes, right? But now, these search queries and these big data sets, they're gonna be like in like the terabytes, petabytes realm. So in order to do that, you don't need one computer, you need a lot of computers. And the lot of computers need to be able to talk to each other. And they need to be able to talk to each other in an efficient way. They need to be distributing the workload. So the work has to be divisible. So whatever you want to do, you need to kind of sufficiently break down like your processes so that it's concurrently runnable by multiple machines. And in order to do that, the computers have to be up, right? The computers have to be responding to your request. The computers have to be connected to each other. The computers have to have disk. The computers have to have CPU available. So that fleet of computers, making sure that they're up and running and they're doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, that is basically what I do. I monitor, I deploy new versions of the software that does these things, and then I clean up data sets that are no longer needed, and save up on costs and things like that. So that is more or less what I do as a software engineer. I landed here because of my seniority in the role. I was originally the type of person who would write the processing software. So like I was the person who hypothesizes from the data, try to come up with meaningful results, recommendations for search, and like similarity among like different things. Those are the things that I worked with, and the more pipelines I wrote, the more processes I wrote, the more I looked into how do I make my work go faster? How do I optimize my things? And then the more I did that, the more I went deeper into how these things actually get broke down. How do I make improvements from there? And then it all comes down to basically what I do today. So that's my software engineering job. What's it like? It is usually very low pace. It's usually very not that eventful. But because of the nature of these things, number one, when one thing goes down, it has a sort of a potential for a cascading failure. We always want to be aware of those. And we have to, and you can tell how big data is valuable to people who don't really know a lot about technology, right? It just kind of feels like magic. This comes at the downside of when something's wrong, the best they can describe is a problem. It's like it failed. And so when some reports don't finish in time, or like when some bugs happen because of whatever reason, I'm kind of the frontline person to see what failed. And it needs a lot of like deciphering. And although there are general patterns that help me, when there's like an urgency, this report has to be seen by an executive like this morning and we only have a few hours. Those tend to be kind of the time crunches. And we don't have a lot of those, but those do happen. And depending on your company, you might have a lot more of those. How does it affect my life and my mind? Well, livelihood-wise, it pays very good money, right? Because it's a very specialized domain knowledge, and it takes a lot of training, and for you to be kind of like adaptably and flexibly good at these things, you have to have a lot of experience working with a lot of different types of data sets. So my career has spanned from language models in lots of bunch of different languages like Brazilian, Portuguese, Russian, Korean, like English, obviously, things like that. And also search queries. Natural language processing is also comes as a part of that. Like, and I also did like a lot of binary and byte based things because of optimizing the data storage and things like that. And now I work in the entertainment industry, so I know how to work with like entertainment stuff. So there's a lot of different domains that the more you're familiar with, the more kind of adaptable your skill sets become, and companies are kind of always looking for that adaptability. And so this sort of means you're kind of expected to hop between jobs, which means you're gonna have to do a lot of interviews, which means you're gonna be always kind of thinking of yourself as a caliber of some sort. So you're gonna be, if you're unconscious of these things, you're gonna be defining yourself by the companies that you're at. And so a lot of people want to be the FAANG, right? I don't know what companies they stand for right now, but it's basically like Facebook or Meta and Google, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon, things like that. People want to work in those places because they ultimately are kind of like, they define who you are as an engineer, right? Like your caliber as an engineer. So when I was living that life, it was absolutely miserable. There is a lot of money involved, but like there's no real time to enjoy that money because you're always stressed about potentially not making the cut, and there's a lot of judgment for people who kind of become stale, and they just kind of like don't really seek to develop themselves. They don't do public like engineering things and all these things. So trying to fight with other people's like opinions of yourself, trying to fight with like the public notions of what a company, like where you work, how that's valuable, that eats up in yourself. And even if you're in a prestigious company, right, then you start ranking among projects. You want to work on high visibility projects, and you want to work on high visibility projects that are also unfortunately related a lot to politics. And so you want to line yourself up with an executive who is like, powerful inside and help you climb up the ladder and blah, 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 blah. So that sucks. And I stopped playing that game. I really don't care if I'm not promoted anymore because, I just don't want to play that game. So even if I do get a promotion and if I have a chance to decline, I feel like I'm just gonna decline now because I just don't really need all of that expectation. I just don't need all of that. I'm fine the way I am right now. I know I'm a good engineer. I know I'm providing a lot of value. So no matter what anybody says, I'm happy to be here. I'm genuinely happy to be here. Why did I get into software engineering? So I always wanted to be a natural scientist, believe it or not. I wanted to be a biologist, chemist, physics. I had a tutor back in high school, and he was this like Armenian dude living in Irvine, and he was this like triple PhD guy, and he was so fucking smart, and I just really admire that about him. And when he was tutoring me, he made everything make so much sense, and I just really enjoyed my time with that tutor. His name was Gagik, and unfortunately, Gagik is a very common name in the Armenian community, so I wasn't able to find him again. But he was such a brilliant guy, and I loved my tutoring experience with him. And I always admired the life of a scientist, right? Like in pursuit of knowledge, in pursuit of wisdom. That's like the key to life. I guess that kind of ties into Buddhism. But then I went to college, and lab was like 3 hours, and I was like, fuck that, I don't want to do that, which was kind of a really silly way of looking at things. But so I was undecided major for like the first 2 years, and then came sophomore year and I was like, oh, gotta pick a major. So like I'm kind of typical smart guy in high school, suddenly coming former gifted kid or whatever, right? So I'm kind of a jack of all trades and king of none. And I'm thinking, what should I do? And then I looked at the courses that I've taken, what I enjoyed. One option was linguistics. I really, really like linguistics. It just kind of tickles the part of my brain that I find so fascinating. But at the same time, I want money, right? And so I look at potential careers, and linguists, not that much. And then I eventually find myself in a computer science class. And I've been working with computers all my life, since I was a kid. Playing games or whatever. Computers have always been a part of my life. And because of this, I had a really easy time in CS 101. But I found that none of my peers, none of my friends were having a good time in CS 101. So I'm like, maybe I'm really good at this. I was wrong, but that's how I picked my major, and it turned out to be lucrative. But why I was wrong is, it turns out the people who pick computer sciences for major are actually AP scholar level computer science people, and they just naturally transition into college. It's not like this oh, maybe I'll do that kind of a thing. So competition was really steep. I think I was the worst student in the entire major. Had a really rough time there. But anyway, that's my life. And turns out after I graduated, I found the natural language processing. And so basically there was this intersection between linguistics and computer science. So that's what I ended up doing for the first half, more or less, of my professional career. Very much enjoyed it. It tickles just the right kind of the parts of my brain for me. Why am I not a doctor or a lawyer? So, I'm an immigrant, right? I was on a student visa. When you're an international student attending a United States university, you can't get scholarships unless you're at the top 1.111%. I'm not that type of person. So my parents spent a fortune on my education because I went to an Ivy League institution. So I did not want to have my parents go through yet another like crazy thing like that. Masters of Engineering, one more year. Good. Takes care of my military service, gets a good degree, can get a good job, and my parents only have to pay for one more year of tuition, like that. So that's why I picked computer science. And yeah, it all worked out at the end. And so while that's bad that my parents had a lot of financial stress, it also comes with the good that I have no student debt because it was all paid in lump sum. And so I think that's the good side of being an international student. And I guess a downside of being a FAFSA and financial aid kind of a situation. It takes like ages to pay your student debt, student loans. I love America, but I think and I immigrated here legally, but I do think there needs to be it would really be nice to have another form of immigration that doesn't require like a crazy amount of time and a crazy amount of money. And I think it would really be nice if there were even more options for affordable education in the United States. And healthcare, surprisingly, I don't have that much of a problem with it. Although I do believe in the need for a more comprehensive universal healthcare, or like at least a low cost universal healthcare, because yeah, I want to kind of see a more realistic way of first. Of course, it would be nice if we got universal healthcare for everyone, but realistically, I think if we expand on the low cost side of things, I think that's much more actionable compared to the ideal that we might not ever reach. But anyway, that's some recent Billy talk, and my face is all red because I got beat up super hard in jiu-jitsu yesterday because this weekend is a big jiu-jitsu competition. So good luck to my teammates, and yeah, it's nice to just unwind and talk to all of you like this every once in a while. Alright, see you in the next video.